Namaste. Welcome again to our next talk. And we'll need to pick up where we were before. I apologize. You see, I have a timer which shows me how much time is left. But there's one problem. I get so busy looking at the text of the Gita and thinking about it, I don't look at it, and well, then the time runs out. So I don't promise it won't happen this time either. All right. With your heart fixed on the Supreme Lord, this is what Krishna has told Arjuna he has to do. And how do you do it? And as I've explained, we have to come into the knowledge of our own self. And this is this very awareness of I am, Saham. I am that, not just I. I'm very aware there are people who say, well, just before you meditate, just say I. Well, that's not going to get you anywhere. Who and what are both the same thing, and you have to know the who and the what. So, Sa Aham, I am that, and the greatest yogi that ever lived, Gorakhnath, the disciple of Machendrath, who was the very first yogi in this creation cycle, said it is Soham bhava. It is the bhava, the state of awareness and being, I am that. The infinite is that, and I am that. You see? There's a mantra that says, this is the true, that is the true. So, we have to immerse ourselves in the Soham Bhava, which is done by sadhana, by meditation alone. And what I'm doing, as you don't see, is I'm picking up this. Soham Yoga. This is on our website, posted on our website. You can download it for free, and it can also be bought, which is better because then you can take it with you and read it and so on. I sometimes take a copy of this with me. We go out, maybe I'm going to be in the car for a while, and so I open it up and read what's written there, which is all about Soham. I am that. And this is the beginning, the middle, and the end of the whole thing as far as your real being goes. Therefore, the sadhana of Soham. The sadhana of Soham is so simple, so much that it's easy to believe it wouldn't work. But if you try it, you do it, it works. And it's just this. You make yourself aware of your breathing, inhaling, exhaling. You do it with the mouth closed. So when you inhale, you mentally intone so. You kind of sing it. You don't say so. You don't say soham, soham. You say soham, soham, but not all in one. You say so when you inhale and hum when you exhale. The so should fit the entire inhalation. If it's short, then it's short. If it's long, it's long. And hum when you exhale. And you just keep doing that and just stay aware of it. And you can do it even while you're doing your work. You can do it, while you walk around, sweep a floor, whatever. You can do it. And the meditation, that is done always through the waking time. You won't be able to do that overnight. Don't expect to. And meditation as well, you sit, you close your eyes. And it's so when you inhale and when you exhale. With the mouth closed, you breathe only through the nose. And that's all there is to it. But I remember very well seeing a PBS series. Actually, I think it came from the BBC, a series on world religions. And in the one on Buddhism, uh, the man who was going around talking to various people visited a Buddhist monk. I mentioned Amida Buddha. Uh, so he visited uh, a monk who was a practitioner of what is called Amidism or Amida Buddhism. And that is where you continually say the name of Amida Buddha. And the monk talked about how you do it all the time. And this man, who of course was a wiseacre, uh, said, "Well, that sounds too easy to me." And the monk actually laughed and said, "Why don't you try it?" See, that's the difference between East and West. West loves theory, and East says, get busy in doing it and do it. Don't say God exists. Get busy and know God exists. Don't say I'm an immortal being. Get busy and know you're an immortal being. This is what's so needed. So, fix your heart on the Supreme Lord, and then that's all you really want will be that state of reality, which is union with the Supreme. And then you won't be attached to the fruits of your actions because you're doing the one highest and most important action. The intonation of soul and hum in time with the inhaling and exhaling breaths. It sounds so easy, it sounds so simple, maybe stupidly simple, but you know what? I'm sure when people first saw E equals MC squared from the pen or pencil of Albert Einstein, they thought, well, that's pretty small and that's pretty simple. But Hiroshima and Nagasaki didn't think that. Yes. One single electron moving in a particular mass of uranium makes an atomic blast that just destroys everything for a huge area. Now, if a little electron can do that, so can that breath, that simple breath that is tuned to infinity through soul on inhaling and hum on exhaling. Try it and find out it works. This is what is always I have loved about yoga. I've had teachers or things I've read say, this and this will produce this result. And I think, oh, come on, don't fool me. I mean, really? And then I thought, well, why not try it? I remember the first time I learned something. It wasn't in the school or form of yoga I cared to persevere in, but this teacher taught something incredibly simple. And they said, well, now let's just sit and do it. And I thought, well, what's this going to do? But I sat and I did it, and it did. It had a calming effect and so on. I fortunately realized that you had to get beyond something as basic as that, but it at least was the beginning. And I found out practice gives experience. And that's the secret of yoga. So you fix your heart on the Supreme Lord through Soham sadhana. Then You won't even have to actively renounce attachment to the fruits of your actions because you'll be looking to the infinite beyond the fruits of your actions. Be even tempered in success and failure, meaning external actions, external success, and external failure, because all the while you were acting, you were centered in yourself. So hum, so hum. And so, since that's the highest thing you can do, and it always works, you never fail. And you will yourself become the success you're after, or the revelation of who you really are will be the success. And once you have it and know it, how can you unlearn it? Were you ever at any time in your life able to forget after you learn it that 1 and 1 is 2? So it says, excuse me, for it is this evenness of temper which is meant by yoga. Obviously, you're just intent mostly on one thing. You have, in a sense, you've reached up onto the tree and you've grabbed the tree branch. And now you can tap dance, or you can kick your legs, or you could just do anything you want, but you'll be anchored right there. So the secret of karma yoga is Soham Yoga, which is the essence and the purpose, anyway, the aim of all forms of yoga. So we can continue on because that's a pretty good lesson to have learned. Work done with anxiety about result is far inferior to work done without such anxiety. That's right. And how do we do that? Wonderful. Next clause. In the calm of self surrender. Let's take a look at the text for that. I should have had it marked, but I didn't. All right. Now, here we get something interesting. The real word used is Buddhi Yoga. You can say, well, if it's Buddhi Yoga, which is the intelligence and our higher intellect, then how can you call it self surrender? Well, there's different ways to give in. One is to reach out and grab, and one is to let you receive something. You also have to be surrendered to receive, to take in, don't you? So, therefore, Prabhupananda's translation is the most practical. So, that's really the way it works. I'll frequently have to do this because this translation which is a very ideal translation, is at the same time an interpretive translation. And it's good to make sure we know what just the simple meaning is rather than the interpretive meaning, but they're both right and they'll both benefit us. So it continues, seek refuge in the knowledge of Brahman. Not knowing about Brahman, not being able to reason about Brahman, but knowing Brahman, which is only through knowledge that says, Soham, I am that. You see? Here is a little seed, and a whole oak tree can come from it. That seed of consciousness, the mantric syllable, Soham, can result in infinite consciousness because It says in the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, in the beginning there was nothing but the Purusha, the Supreme Being. And he first said, it's interesting that expression, the Purusha first said, Soham Asmi. I am, that's what Asmi means, Soham. The infinite declared even unto himself or itself, which is more correct, Sa Aham. Sa Aham, Soham Asmi. Asmi also has a form asmita, which means awareness of self-existence. So Soham is the self and the awareness of the self, and the awareness again of Saham, I am that. And in the Isha Upanishad, you see the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad and Isha Upanishad are the two oldest and most authoritative Upanishads we have. Now, Isha only has 16 verses, but it talks about what must be in the mind of the individual when they go from the body. And it's said that when the individual knows they're going to go through that door, they should say, Soham Asmi. Soham. I am that. So this is very, very important because it is refuge. There is no safety outside of the knowledge, Soham. Outside of the consciousness, Soham. Outside of the whole life that should be filled with the vibration through the constant japa in time with the breath of Soham. I am that. Those who work selfishly for results are miserable. In other words, if you don't seek the true self, misery is your goal. Misery is the reward you'll get from all your endeavors. You'll be frustrated and you'll feel hopeless and helpless, which you will be until one day you too say, Soham, and understand it's us, me, I am that. And actually, that's such an important point, lest we lose track of it. I will say, Namaste. Thank you so much for your patience, and thank you so much for listening. And I will be speaking to you the next time.